Gather round the fire, my friends. I have a chilling tale for you of murder on a lonely highway. Our haunted highway is located in the wilds of northern British Columbia. Now, BC is absolutely stunning. Dense forests, vivid lakes, and towering mountains that take your breath away. But there's an isolated 450-mile stretch where danger lurks behind all that natural beauty. Locals have a bone-chilling name for this remote road, filled with shadows and secrets. They call it the Highway of Tears. Over the decades, countless women have gone missing or turned up dead along this very highway, just vanished without a trace on their way home. The first disappearance goes all the way back to 1969. Since then, officially at least 18 have been murdered or gone missing, but many say the real number is double that, 40 lost souls or more. Which brings us to a chilly November night in 2010, an evening that seemed quiet as can be, right before that lonely highway claimed yet another young life. An inexperienced Canadian Mountie cop was out on evening patrol. As he's winding along past nothing but trees, his headlights flash on a strange sight. A mammoth black pickup truck, going way too fast, is swerving out from a hidden side road. The Mountie's senses start tingling that they're up to no good. He radios for backup and decides to pull them over. When he walks up, he sees the truck's packed with 4 big burly men. But oddly enough, the driver who hops out is just a baby-faced teenager. The other men stay silent in their seats, their faces hidden by shadow. This baby-faced kid seems twitchy and nervous. And the rookie cop soon sees something that kicks his pulse into high gear. Blood. The teen's legs are covered in blood. The Mountie cop demands an explanation. The kids stammer out a crazy story that makes no sense. Claims they used a pipe wrench to hunt deer. Says somehow in this bizarre, brutal deer hunt, his legs got drenched by blood. But our Canadian Mountie cop is no fool. He can smell lies a mile away. He detains the group on suspicion of poaching and radios for the wildlife officer to hurry out and investigate. But before the game warden arrives, a new truck pulls up, and out steps a middle-aged man with fear in his eyes. He reveals himself as Doug and asks if the bloody teen has seen his 15-year-old daughter, Lauren. Says no one can find her or reach her by phone. Last anyone saw, Lauren planned to visit a friend out here off the highway tonight. But now it's been hours. Far too long for a quick trip. Doug's dad's senses are screaming that something's wrong. The hair on the back of the Mountie's neck stands up too. A feeling of dread washes over him as puzzle pieces start clicking together in his mind. The bloody teen. The hidden logging road. Dad searching for his girl who was out here last. Every instinct says, whatever happened, the truth must be hiding in those dark woods. He asks the wildlife warden to check out the remote turnoff where the suspect truck emerged. The warden follows fresh tire tracks down the secluded path. As the headlights cut through the veil of black between the trees, a beam lands on a small motionless shape, half buried in leaves. He's found the body of a young girl cast into a roadside ravine. No signs of life remain, only blood staining the snow around her. By now the father Doug is pacing, calling his daughter's phone compulsively. It just rings and rings. Finally, the wildlife officer emerges, and in that instant before he even speaks, the look on his face tells Doug everything. His little girl isn't coming back. The sound Doug makes is more howl than scream. He drops to his knees as his only child, his precious Lauren, slips away into the endless dark. Now the Mountie knows, without question, they aren't dealing with the poachers anymore. This has become a homicide investigation. And the strange bloody teen definitely knows more than he's saying. But who is Babyface? And what tie could he have to Lauren? Was she meeting a friend who lured her into a trap? Or offered a ride by a smiling stranger with murderous intent hiding behind innocent eyes? With Lauren's body found yards away on a hidden side road, they know this is now a homicide case. Their top priority is learning all they can about the victim. She was Lauren Leslie, age 15, a shy girl who loved helping others, legally blind but you'd never guess, lived in a tiny town and traveled the highway to see friends. Her parents hated when Lauren hitched rides, fearing one day she might not make it home. And this night, their worst fears came true. Meanwhile, cops run the bloody suspect's ID. He's 20-year-old Cody Legebokoff, a charming country boy from the area. Locals know Cody's a party boy who drinks and does drugs, but none pegged him for a stone-cold killer. Evidence proves Cody recently connected with Lauren online. He likely arranged to meet the trusting teen at the secluded rest stop, but police aren't sure if brutalizing Lauren was a random thrill kill or if something darker ties Cody to that demonic highway's past. So while probing her murder, investigators quietly compare notes to unsolved cases from the Highway of Tears Hall of Dead and Missing, specifically 4 women who recently disappeared from nearby towns and turned up dead in the wilderness under evil circumstances. The latest was 35-year-old Jill Stashenko, a free spirit loved by her community. She vanished without warning. When her body finally appeared, it was tossed down an embankment, just like Lauren. 2 more women, Cynthia and Natasha, ages 35 and 23, also found murdered, half naked, after partying with unknown men. Young lives stripped away in their prime. The 4th was Monica Ignace, pregnant ingenious mother of 2, and just 15 years old, like Lauren. She was riding her bike on a First Nations reservation in the 1990s when she disappeared. Her bones weren't identified for decades. On the surface, nothing links these tragedies that span over 30 years. Empty, unmarked graves off the highway. But chilling clues at the crime scenes whisper that the same merciless killer could be responsible for all their deaths. Maybe this Cody caught red-handed is no lone wolf, but the latest killer to carve his niche on the Highway of Tears. Testing finds Cody's DNA under several victims' nails, who fought back against their attacker in vain. His apartment holds traces of them mixed with grisly blood evidence, too. And those tainted truck and shorts Cody wore the night Lauren died? Covered in fibers, matching missing persons slain years before. Suddenly, the baby-faced boy doesn't seem so innocent. By now, the police backup has arrived, and officers haul the cuffed killer away. At long last, after decades letting the highway's killers roam free, the RCMP snare one for good, thanks to the quick actions of a rookie Mountie cop trusting his gut. Even on trial as damning forensics facts stack up, Cody sticks to laughable stories. Claims the 4 highway murders were the women's own fault, or some other guy. As if these women beat their own heads in and crushed their own throats. He smirks silently, refusing to admit guilt or reveal where he hid more missing women's bones. Finally, the judge and jury have heard enough. They unanimously find Cody guilty of 4 counts, first-degree murder. At long last, the Highway of Tears drips not with blood, but justice. Surviving families ache with relief to know one killer can never again prey freely on their sisters or mothers or daughters. It wasn't until 2005 that the Royal Canadian Mounted Police finally launched a task force devoted to solving the Highway of Tears cases once and for all. There are still other killers on that stretch of highway that roam free. To this day, the deaths still continue. Over 40 by last count. So if you find yourself on British Columbia roadways, stay sharp.